So you just heard the breaking news. Bob Ferguson has announced that he's going after Tim Eyman. And look, I know Tim's controversial. I also know that he's done a lot to save taxpayers a lot of money, and that makes government officials crazy. I also know that Bob Ferguson is the most dangerous public official in Washington state history. Bob Ferguson tried to use the power of the Attorney General's office to get me fired. And you know that we're supposed to have the protection of the First Amendment. Bob Ferguson knows that, and he used the power of the AG's office and sent out emails to tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people on his mailing list to get me fired off of this radio show. He is an out-of-control maniac. And I just heard that he's going after Tim Eyman now to recover the AG's legal fees in the Washington State versus Eyman. Just heard this. It was breaking news seconds ago. Tim Eyman live here on the Dori Monson Show. Hello, Tim.
Hey, Dori. Good to talk with you.
Okay. We've talked about this before. And Bob Ferguson can, if he chooses to go after a private citizen like you, like me, he has unlimited resources banked by the taxpayers of the state of Washington. You told me you filed for bankruptcy because of having to fight all this stuff. And now he is coming after you for an additional $3 million to pay back the AG's legal fees. What's your response?
Well, yeah, at every hearing, they would always have like 4 or 5 assistant attorney general staffers. I mean, they threw the absolute whole kitchen sink and jacked up their costs as much as they possibly could, because the hope was that it would destroy me and I would never actually make it to trial. And just because, literally thousands of people ended up helping me with my legal defense fund, I was at least able to get over the finish line, scraping and scratching and clawing. It's taken everything that I've ever earned, all the money that I've raised over the last 8 years, just to get to this moment to find hopefully a judge that would see the ridiculousness of this situation. And this judge just rubber-stamped it, saying $2.6 million fine, $2.8 million additional on top of that for attorney's fees, $5.4 million, and they can look in my bank account and see that there's about $28,000 in there. So it is a completely absurd thing that I'm committed to appealing.
Okay, so I mean, why even appeal it if there's no blood in the stone? I mean, what's he going to get from you if you're bone dry now, financially?
There is something to be said for that. There's certainly the reality, if he gets away with it with me, somebody else is going to be next. I'm basically Irish. I can't give up on a fight. It's not something that I can walk away from. But there's also all this injunctive relief, all this restrictions on basic First Amendment rights. The one that I think is just particularly interesting in the ruling that the judge ordered is he said, Tim Eyman is prohibited under this court order from participating in the decision-making for a political action committee. I don't even know what that means. So you want to take away
your First Amendment guaranteed right.
It's participate in the decision-making. Now, I don't even know what that means. I mean, how do you comply with no participation? However, I'm allowed to sponsor initiatives and promote initiatives, but I can't participate in the decision-making for a political committee for it. It's truly, truly over-the-top violations of basic First Amendment rights, but it's not like the judge really did do this stuff. He just rubber-stamped what the AG asked for. It's not like he came up with this stuff. It was all boilerplate stuff that the AG had asked for, and the judge just signed off on it. If you read the order, it's got all of Ferguson's rhetoric about egregious and over-the-top. Normally these orders are just pretty, sedate kind of things. It was everything that Ferguson ever wanted, and he does. He's got an unlimited supply of money targeting private individuals. Well, it's a florist in the Tri-Cities, just this little lady that didn't want to do a gay wedding, or me, or you, or just regular citizens. The guy is just a bully who has unlimited resources to go after people that can't possibly normally be able to fight back. The only reason I was able to is because thousands of people, forgive me, went to timdefense.com and donated so that I could pay my lawyers to be able to fight this thing. And I do need to fight this thing on an appeal because it is so violative of First Amendment rights, freedom of speech, the Eighth Amendment against excessive civil fines. I mean, these are just obvious violations, and you can't possibly win a fight unless you're willing to have it.
Because we're almost out of time here, but here's what I'll tell you. That, and I'm serious about this, Bob Ferguson, I don't know if you realize this, Tim. You have a lot of people out there who don't like you. I don't know if you've ever
weird. That's weird. Are
caught
you sure?
wind of that.
Are you really sure?
I saw it on Twitter. I saw it on Twitter.
And you saw that, did you?
But here's the thing.
Subtle.
I don't care if people don't like you. They should be fearful of an overreaching, tyrannical government. And I'm serious. Bob Ferguson, several months ago, he sent out to his fundraising mailing list, telling them to call Bonneville to get me fired. And you want to talk about a First Amendment violation where government tries to silence somebody who is a watchdog of government, and man, he is out of control. Okay, plug your
and
website.
That's what
one
bullies
more time
do.
Here.
Bullies throw their weight around.
I know.
He's got tremendous
he's out of control.
power, and I'm so grateful you were able to survive it, and I think I can survive it too, as long as people keep fighting. And we are going to do an initiative this year, stopping any kind of income tax, and I think the voters are on our side, and we'll just keep moving forward with that.
Okay, give your website again. One more plug.
I really appreciate it. It's timdefense.com, timdefense.com. Literally everything I've ever had is now gone, but I'm committed to appealing this stuff because it is so over-the-top outrageous, and if they do get away with it with me, you could be next. So I'm hopeful people will stick with us, and we're going to keep fighting, and I'm just so grateful to you, Dori, for fighting for $30 tabs and all the policies we've done. And people don't need to like me in order to be able to stand up for people's rights. Literally in one of the court rulings, they said a sex offender will have more First Amendment rights than Tim Eyman will by the time this order goes through. It's terrifying.
He's the most dangerous politician I've ever covered in my life, Bob Ferguson. All right, Tim, thanks for jumping on such short notice. And we have our awesome audio of the week, today's sign, all coming up next.